My boss called me into his office on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. He closed the door, sat down, looked at me for about 5 seconds without saying anything. Then he said, I need to show you something, and I'm sorry I have to be the one to do this. He turned his monitor toward me. It was my girlfriend's OnlyFans. Her name was Ashley. We'd been together 22 months. I worked in sales at a mid-sized tech company. She worked part-time at a boutique downtown and told me she was picking up freelance social media work on the side. The social media work was real, just not the kind I thought. My boss, his name is David, 53, married, 2 kids in college, is not the kind of man who gets involved in personal business. He keeps work at work. I'd been reporting to him for 3 years, and we'd never had a conversation that wasn't about numbers or strategy, which is why when he closed the door that Tuesday morning, I knew something was very wrong. David didn't make me guess. He turned his monitor, and there it was. Her page, her face, partially obscured with a mask, but unmistakable if you knew her. Content from the past 6 months. Subscribers. Pricing tiers. I stared at it for maybe 10 seconds. Then I looked at him. He said, one of the other managers sent this to me this morning. He recognized her from the company holiday party last year. He wanted to know if I knew, if you knew. Let me walk you through what just happened in that sentence. My girlfriend had an OnlyFans. My boss knew. Another manager knew, which meant other people in the company knew or were about to know. And the person in the actual relationship was the last to find out. In my workplace, where I have to show up every day, where I have to maintain credibility and authority and professionalism. I asked David how long he'd known. He said about 20 minutes. He'd called me in immediately. I asked him who else knew. He said just him and the other manager, Greg from the Austin office, someone I'd met twice. But Greg had found it, which meant Greg had been looking, which meant other people were looking, which meant this was about to be everywhere. David said, I'm telling you this as a courtesy, not as your boss, as someone who would want to know if I were in your position. What you do with this information is your business. But I thought you should hear it from me before you heard it another way. I thanked him. I walked out of his office. I sat at my desk for about 15 minutes doing nothing. Then I opened a private browser tab and typed in the URL he'd shown me. 6 months of content, posted consistently. Some of it was solo, some of it wasn't. The bio said she was single, available for custom requests, linked to a separate Instagram I'd never seen. I scrolled through the posts. Most of them were time-stamped at night. Some of them I recognized. The lighting, the furniture, the background, our apartment. The apartment I paid 2/3 of the rent on because she was building her freelance business. She'd been doing this in our apartment. While I was at work, sometimes while I was in the next room, I closed the tab. I sat there until lunch. Then I texted her, we need to talk tonight. She replied immediately. Everything okay? I didn't respond. I got home before she did. I sat on the couch, waited. She walked in around 6, smiled, asked me how my day was. I said, my boss showed me your OnlyFans today. She froze. Not dramatically, just stopped moving. Then she said, what? I repeated it. My boss showed me your OnlyFans. She put her bag down, sat across from me, and said, and I need you to hear this exact sentence. She said, it's not what you think. I said, what do I think? She said, it's just content. It's not personal. It doesn't mean anything. I said, you've been doing this for 6 months in our apartment while telling me you were doing social media work. My boss found out before I did. Do you understand what that means? She started crying, said she needed the money, said she didn't think I'd understand, said it wasn't cheating because it was just online. I said, you're right. I don't understand, and I'm done trying to. I told her to pack a bag. She left that night. The next day at work was the longest day of my life. I didn't know who knew. I didn't know what people were saying. I kept my head down and worked. David didn't mention it again. Greg from Austin never contacted me. If other people knew, they didn't say anything to my face. But I felt it. the looks, the quiet, the awareness that something had happened and everyone was being polite enough not to bring it up. That feeling lasted about 2 weeks. Then it faded. Work moved on. I moved on. Ashley texted me 3 months later, said she missed me, said she'd stopped the OnlyFans, said she wanted to talk. I didn't reply. If you're the last person to find out what's happening in your own relationship, you're not in a relationship. You're in a situation she's managing. The humiliation of finding out from your boss, from your workplace, from people who have nothing to do with your personal life, that's a specific kind of pain. Because now it's not just private betrayal, it's public, it's professional. It affects how people see you in spaces where you need to be taken seriously. But here's what I learned. That humiliation has a half-life. It feels permanent when it's happening. It's not. People forget. Work moves on. Life moves on. The only thing that stays with you is whether you had the self-respect to walk away when you found out. I did, and 2 weeks later, the humiliation was gone. But if I'd stayed, if I'd let her explain it away, if I'd convinced myself it didn't matter, that would have stayed with me forever.